What keeps healthcare compliance leaders up at night? I think what keeps most people up at night, work-wise, is the feeling that they are responsible for outcomes they cannot fully see. And in healthcare compliance, that feeling gets very real. You can be doing the work, answering the emails, reviewing the vendors, tracking the training, updating the evidence, and still have that quiet thought at 11:47 p.m. Do we actually know what is going on? The first thing that keeps healthcare leaders up at night is PHI. What I mean is the question of where it actually lives. EHR systems, billing platforms, patient portals, exports, shared drives, cloud tools, medical devices, vendor environments, and that spreadsheet someone created just for now 3 years ago. The practical move is to build a living inventory of systems, assets, vendors, and data flows that touch PHI, then update it whenever a new tool, workflow, integration, or vendor relationship is added. The next worry on our mind is access. Too many people can touch too much data for too long, and nobody wants to discover that during an incident. Staff change roles, vendors come and go, emergency access gets granted, and old permissions have a way of aging quietly in the background. The practical move is to review access by role, enforce MFA where it matters, remove stale accounts, document exceptions, and make access review part of routine operations instead of a once-a-year scramble. Then there is vendor risk. A BAA may be signed, but the BAA does not show what the vendor actually touches, how deep their access goes, whether they use subcontractors, or how quickly they will notify you if something happens. The practical move is to tier vendors by PHI exposure and operational importance. Then maintain a simple profile for each higher risk relationship. What data they handle, what systems they connect to, what evidence exists, what gaps remain, and what happens if they have an incident. Ransomware and downtime sit underneath almost every healthcare security conversation. In healthcare, downtime is not just frustrating or expensive. It can disrupt care, delay workflows, affect communication, and create patient safety concerns. The practical move is to test backups, define downtime procedures, run tabletop exercises, identify critical systems, and make sure leadership knows what the first 24 hours of a serious incident should look like. A plan that only exists as a PDF is better than nothing, but only slightly. Another quiet worry is whether policies match reality. Every healthcare organization has policies. The harder question is whether people can actually follow them while they are tired, rushed, understaffed, helping patients, answering calls, and trying to keep the day moving. The practical move is to compare policy to workflow, not just policy to regulation. Ask the people doing the work where the process breaks, because they usually know. Breach response is where all of this becomes painfully practical. Nobody wants to figure out who calls legal, who contacts the vendor, who briefs leadership, who investigates PHI exposure, and who handles notification while the clock is already running. The practical move is to define decision owners, reporting timelines, escalation paths, vendor notification expectations, breach assessment steps, and communication templates before anything happens. During an incident, creativity is overrated. AI adds a newer version of the same old problem. Patient data moving faster than governance. Someone may be using AI to summarize notes, support coding, draft patient communications, analyze records, or reduce administrative work. Some of those use cases may be valuable. The risk is when PHI enters a tool before compliance, legal, IT, and security understand what the tool does with it. The practical move is to create a clear AI intake process that asks what the use case is, whether PHI is involved, which vendor is used, whether data is retained or used for training, who reviews outputs, and what evidence supports approval. So, the real answer to what keeps healthcare compliance leaders up at night is not one single nightmare scenario. It is the low-grade mental tab that stays open because the work matters, the stakes are high, and the full picture is not always easy to see. And look, maybe we are exaggerating a little with the whole staying up at night thing. Maybe everyone here sleeps beautifully, wakes up refreshed, drinks enough water, and never thinks about vendor risk after 6 p.m. If that is you, congratulations. Please drop your secrets in the chat. But for the rest of us, the question is real. What is the thing in your healthcare compliance program that follows you home mentally? Is it PHI visibility, vendor access, ransomware readiness, AI tools, breach response, or the feeling that the work is happening but the full picture is still harder to see than it should be?